Jazz is very interesting. He did one of these videos talking about the property tax increase. I didn't quite get where he was going with it because he's like, that's a lot. As mayor, like I would make sure it's less. But I think that's kind of a cheap talking point. Not saying Jazz is using it as one, but I'm just saying like, what's the plan there? Like a lot of mayors run on a vague, like I'm going to control your property tax promise. But unless you really have a plan, a lot of people have tried to just come up with the savings, right? I mean, we just had Doge, right? They were going to go into the federal government, massive federal government. They were going to find all this waste, and they couldn't.
We're rolling. We're rolling.
This is a real thing. Real thing.
None of you have the balls to stop this. Stop this.
I've got plenty of time. I have nothing else going on today.
We're in the Wedge neighborhood right now.
All right, we are back on the Wedge Live podcast with a special taxation episode with candidate for, that's too much excitement for the first, for the opening segment.
Do you remember
Eric?
the first thing you ever said to me in person?
No, what was it?
I came up to the Wedge Live bike ride. I can't remember what I said. I said something and you were like, you're so excited for this bike ride. Like I got something wrong. And you were like right away, like this guy, too much enthusiasm.
Well, that is you. This is the Wedge Live podcast. I'm your host, John Edwards. Candidate for Board of Estimate and Taxation, Eric Harris Bernstein, who has abbreviated that to EHB for BET.
We're going right.
So I guess my first question was going to be, is anyone going to watch this? Are we going to be able to make taxation exciting enough to justify the time and effort I went to be here with you?
None of my friends are going to watch it, but if you have some listeners at home.
Why are you doing this? It's a low-key, low-pay, any pay? Barely any pay.
I think it's like, I heard $35 a meeting, so like $70 a month. I think it might be more than that though. I think it might be a couple of grand a year.
Yeah. So why do it? You must care a ton, or there must be something really wrong with you.
Both. No, I mean, I am just a real believer in public goods and the power of collective action. I've been like sort of a pro-tax, pro-public investment, policy wonk, organizer, agitator. Let's go up the bikeway here. For over 10 years now, which is crazy to say. But I think one of the things that America gets wrong and that Minnesota comparatively gets right is the importance and value of raising and spending money together to improve our collective well-being. The Board of Estimate and Taxation has a lot to do with setting the resources that the city has available to itself to fund infrastructure, public safety, all kinds of programs, and the park board as well. And so it's super impactful, both from like a policy perspective and setting the maximum property tax levies and approving bonding. But beyond that, also just a platform for the conversation about taxes and budgets and public spending and what we get and what we'd like. And I really think that Minneapolis can be a place where people feel good about the taxes they pay and the value they get in the return. But we've got to do better. I don't think anyone feels satisfied with where we're at right now. And so I'm running because I've been doing that sort of work for a long time. I've got ideas of how to do things better, and I've got enthusiasm, as you noted,
Too much.
to talk about it.
Too much. Tone it down.
I can't tone it down now. I mean, it's the BET. I got to get people like a little bit interested.
How much power do you anticipate having to direct policy? There's not much actual power the BET has.
Correct.
A couple of big ones, but you can't you can't implement new taxes.
Yeah. And try telling that to the voters in Southwest that want to yell at me about public safety and the police. Like, that's not what I'm running for.
Really? Do they know you're running for BET?
Well, when I go canvass them. I'm out there with the people like Steve Brandt. Steve Brandt, current commissioner of the BET, is everywhere. All these events.
Yeah.
Every time I go somewhere I think I have a good idea, I look up, there's Steve Brandt. And I have to explain to people that I support Steve and that it's Bob Fine, the third candidate, that I think we should not elect.
Are you and Steve running as a ticket?
What was that?
Are you and Steve running as a
No,
ticket?
well, so Steve got the DFL endorsement.
Oh, so he is obligated.
Yeah, and there was a mailer that went out with Steve and Bob on it. Bob, who's like effectively a Republican, as I understand it, has run on across-the-board cuts to all city agencies. I was like, we can't get into the whole convention, but how he stumbled onto the DFL endorsement.
Where do we go from here?
So I think we should go right and go up Nicollet.
So back to your
Okay.
policy power.
Yeah, how am I going to impact
How can
policy?
you impact policy from this role?
Yeah. So again, I think that it's a really important platform for the conversation about the city budget, and also one of the biggest sources of power that the BET is imbued with is information. I think that information is extremely important, and oh wow,
Traffic control.
Traffic control, no less.
We have that on camera. Traffic control.
Oh boy, I should have rammed right into the side of that thing. Could have been set for life. Okay, illegal bike path.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
So much excitement. We have helicopters overhead. Traffic control nearly ran into us.
You're just like, yeah, we're having a great time on the BET podcast. Everyone wants this content. But yeah, so the power of information, getting the ability to have deeper insights into the city budget and being more read into the conversations about where that money's going and how it's moving and things like that. I think that in and of itself is an enormous source of power that I would hope to harness to foster a better conversation about public spending in Minneapolis. And then I think, I am a professional political practitioner, and I think building coalitions, building partnerships, helping to build consensus behind good ideas, those are all things that I've been doing for a long time and for the last 5 years here in Minneapolis, or in Minnesota, I should say. And I think I'd be great at doing that on the BET. And I'm lucky to have like a really good network of folks on the city council, folks who are very knowledgeable about the city and its history, and I think I can help bring that all together to a coherent and productive place.
We got a moat.
Okay, I think our experiment in the First Ave bike lane has come to a close. So we're gonna go past Nicollet and we'll go on to one of the quieter streets and take a right and work our way up that way.
All right. Maybe Pleasant.
Pleasant is pleasant. It is really well named. And here we are, by the way, some of my favorite establishments. Little T's Prodigal Pub. Lots of good stuff over here.
But like the big power you have on the BET is to set the tax levy. So they could
Correct.
set it super low and force a tax cut. So Bob Fine is not totally off the wall promising that he could just slash taxes to the bone if he could manage to get anyone to vote with him.
Well, right, but I think like that's the interesting thing, and like the rhetoric I'm seeing in the mayoral race from like most candidates and like a lot of interested parties, they're all kind of saying like property taxes are going up. Like as mayor, I'm going to control that. And I think my platform is kind of makes it an easier position to talk about, because I'm like, listen, your taxes are going up under progressive mayors. Your taxes are going up under more centrist or conservative mayors. Like the levy, the way it's set up, it has to increase somewhat each year, or else we're falling behind the price of public sector labor. We're falling behind the price of public goods and services, infrastructure investment, etc. So the question is less like, no one really has a plan to suppress that unless we think bigger about additional sources of revenue and additional strategies of public investment. And that's what I'm very interested in and want to bring to the BET. And so Steve Brandt has the idea about, I hope I'm not stepping on your next question, about municipal income tax.
No, that's good. Let's roll into it.
I think that's really a conversation worth having, and it's interesting, but municipal income tax is just one possible idea of how the city could diversify its revenue base. And I worry, frankly, about a municipal income tax aimed at the very highest wealth people that could easily just move to Edina or move to some other inner ring suburb and avoid it. So I think it's worth studying probably would be more stronger and more effective if it was levied at the county level and then distributed to local governments or to city governments. But also there's other things. Vacancy fees, I think, is the thing that I'm like most clear on.
Could you really raise a lot of money from vacancy fees though?
Well, I don't know exactly how much money you could raise, but you raise revenue in two ways with vacancy fees. One, with the fee itself, and two, more importantly, with the restoration of the tax base by putting, real estate back to use for people who will live in empty units, occupy empty commercial spaces, and things like that. But that's just one example. My bigger idea, which is going to take years and years to explore, but which I'm very interested in, has less to do with public income or revenue and more to do with public wealth. So the city owns an enormous amount of assets. Any city owns a lot of assets, real estate assets, buildings, land, things like that. But we never leverage them like a business would to create the sort of development or income, that would maybe be most beneficial. And so in a lot of cities in Europe, the cities take a stronger hand. I think we said we were going to aim for third, so should we do that?
Sure.
Although this stretch of Franklin, I meant to avoid this.
Just a couple of guys talking taxes riding Franklin Avenue.
Yeah, this is bad. We should not do this.
During rush hour.
Okay, why don't we just we can't go here. Let's get over one on, let's go to Nicollet, back to Nicollet, and then we'll take our first
We could
right.
skip through here.
You want to skip through here?
Let's skip
okay,
through
let's
here.
go while we have the red.
Let's get off Franklin. Let's not murder ourselves. Hello, Wedge Live podcast listeners. This is John Edwards speaking on behalf of our newest sponsor, BetterThan94.org/open letter. What's better than 994? Literally anything. A trench poisoning people unlucky enough to have had it built through their neighborhood many decades ago sounds pretty bad to me. The Minnesota Department of Transportation refuses to study the boulevard option to replace I-94 through the heart of Minneapolis and St. Paul. To justify this, MnDOT has produced an unbelievably flawed analysis that says an urban interstate is actually safer and more environmentally friendly than a more traditional boulevard-style city street accommodating pedestrians, transit, bikes, and cars, as well as better utilizing all of that space devoted to that trench. Please sign on to this letter that's broadly supported by more than 35 local organizations, elected officials, and me at betterthan94.org/open-letter. Taylor, can you read our pharmaceutical-style disclaimer at the end of this ad?
Rebuilding urban interstates can lead to several more generations of steep disparities in health issues, as diverse as asthma, cancer, old age dementia, children's brain development, heart attacks, strokes, depression, anxiety, and early death. Ask your doctor if betterthan94.org/open-letter is right for you.
This is Dwayne Davis's church. Did you know that?
I did know that, yeah.
It's a very nice church. They had me speak here once. And
About taxes?
of course, it's the only thing I'm allowed to speak about. Okay, so where were we? So a better accounting of public assets that we own and thinking through how are we spending money to sustain them versus how could they produce income. There are cities in Europe that are doing this very effectively, like in Copenhagen. They redeveloped their entire port area with housing and a lot of shared space and things, which not only increase their tax base, but also increase the housing supply to make housing more affordable. So those are very big and new ideas, but I think that is ultimately what we're going to need because we're facing huge challenges. Declining downtown property values and occupancy rates is one challenge. There's also the federal government cutting funding left and right for all the for equity, for transportation, for all these things. And then the third and biggest threat to the city's fiscal solvency, frankly, is actually demographic change. As a country, we're having fewer kids and we're getting older. That's going to mean a smaller tax base, fewer workers making money and paying taxes. And so in the long run in Minneapolis and in cities all over the country and the world, we're going to have to figure out new strategies of how to fund collective well-being. And I think they have to do more with the use of public assets and the building of public wealth than they do necessarily just one new revenue stream. One new revenue stream might be an important part of it, but that's just, maybe a Band-Aid on a bigger philosophical question about how we invest public money and how we create the things that people need, like housing and healthcare.
Is there anything you think we spend too much on?
Yeah.
Give
I
it to
mean,
me.
I don't, have the line-by-line knowledge of the budget that I will if I'm elected to the BET, but certainly there's a lot of private contracts for things that I think are, should be done by more efficiently by a public sector workforce. I think there's, I would say that would be number one for me of places to look. I don't want to slander any public program. So the number one thing I think would be examining some of the ways we approach public problems sort of with grant here, grant there, rather than forming a durable, long-term, publicly managed solution. I think that is probably an area we waste money. A lot of people will say, oh, we should focus on the basics rather than trying to do all this newfangled stuff. And I think that's kind of a cheap talking point, but I don't totally disagree that
Streets and police. Nothing else.
Certainly a much broader definition of public safety, but I do think that there's some truth to focusing on fundamentals and making sure that we're making good investments of public money that we can sustain. During COVID in Minneapolis, as in a lot of other places, there was a standing up of a lot of new programs and ideas, and that's just a tough business for government to be in. It's a tough business for business to be in, but especially for the government. And so I think that there's probably some amount of logic in focusing on what we really need to be doing better, which is, I would say one thing comes top of mind, of course, taking care of unsheltered population, and also improving the affordability of housing more generally.
And this is probably an easy one. What do we not spend enough on?
I would go to housing. If you look at the city budget, obviously we get housing from federal government, housing funding from federal government and from the state as well, so it's not the full picture if you just look at the city, but housing is so fundamental. Problems that begin with unstable housing metastasize into all sort of devastating economic and social challenges. And so the housing first approach, which is something that a lot of people talk about nowadays, I think that's really key. And I think we don't spend enough money thinking about the physical shape of our city. I think Minneapolis, probably their city planners who would say we actually do that excellently, but I really think the city is the permanent entity of this area, right? It's our elected government, and it is the body that sort of should hold the vision and plan. And I know that we do our 2040 plan, and soon we'll start talking about 2050 plan. But I think that we should probably put even more resources into really actively imagining a city that functions better for the people who live here.
Have you heard of Steve Brandt's zany idea to add another elected member to the BET?
So I was wondering if you were going to ask me, should we abolish the BET?
Oh, we should. I don't even need to ask the question.
But are you just sour because you couldn't quite get over the threshold
I ran
to be elected?
the most successful write-in campaign for the BET in 2017. Thousands of people wrote my name down.
Okay. Well, here's the good news for your listeners at home. You don't have to write my name down. You can just circle the box.
Imagine if my name had been on the ballot, a good generic name like John Edwards.
Yeah.
So many people would have accidentally voted for me.
Yeah.
I would have won.
I agree. So I heard that you got about as many votes as you had followers at the time. Is that right?
That might be true.
I think you said that.
Maybe.
I was told you said that at the time. I didn't know you then. But you have way more followers now than you did then.
Right.
So now,
Sure.
if you want to jump in, you might give me a run for my money. I honestly so I think I got to look again, but I think Steve Brandt got either Sam or Steve got around 50,000 votes by the final round last time. So I'm how am I going to get 50,000 people?
People are going to accidentally vote for Eric Harris Bernstein because they like the name.
You think they'll like the name? That's really nice, John.
Yeah.
I'm afraid they'll like Bob Fine. His name is Fine.
Yeah, it's not a great name, I don't think. Eric Harris Bernstein, I can trust that name.
Well, I appreciate
Bob Fine
that.
makes me think it's not fine.
So I was telling people that, I was if you're trying to remember who to vote for for BET. Look at the 3 names and just remember, think about the state of the world right now. It's not fine.
It's not fine.
But then the ranked choice voting people told me I really shouldn't do that because it centers his name and not mine, and I need to tell them rank Eric 1, Steve 2.
There's also a problem with going by your initials, EHB for BET. It's incomprehensible to people. EHB.
Wait, you think?
Yeah, because you're going to see your name on the ballot.
My entire strategy?
They're going to see your name on the ballot. They're not going to see EHB.
Damn it, man. I'm telling people EHB for BET, EHB for BET. You can't forget that. You think it's no good?
I feel like you should use your name more. Okay. You just have big yard signs that say Bernstein.
I do. My yard signs are coming Friday, hopefully, and they're just huge block letters, Eric Harris Bernstein, for Board of Estimate and Taxation. Black background, white lettering. It's everything that I ever want from design. Oh, and in the corner, they say union endorsed.
How do you have money for yard signs?
How do I have money for yard signs? I'm a very compelling figure. People were lining up to give my campaign money. Also, yard signs, how much do you think they cost? Because I just found out.
A couple of dollars each?
Yeah, $8.
Oh, $8 each.
So, I mean, 100 yard signs for less than $1,000, like, if I put them in the right place. Oh, also, they make 2x4 and 4x8. So anyone who wants to host a 4x8 Eric Harris Bernstein billboard in their front yard, get at me. And in fact, anyone who wants to host a yard sign anywhere, please, I'd love to spread the word. It's going to be all
about dodging the question about the third elected member of the BET.
Okay, all right, let's go.
That's a terrible idea, right? We could barely get you to run. We barely have 3 living, breathing people who want this job.
I agree. I don't really think it's worth the effort. Let's just stop here. I don't think it's worth the effort it would take.
Is that your campaign tagline? It's barely worth the effort.
No, I think the BET is worth the effort of people who want to invest their time in it, and I believe in forums for these conversations about taxes and budgets, obviously. But the effort to do a reform that isn't clearly structurally preferable, it doesn't get my juices flowing personally. But I don't know. I mean, maybe Steve, if we get elected together, he'll convince me this is the way. But he doesn't even want to run again next time.
I get the feeling he's not going to run next time. I don't know after 4 years that you want to run next time.
Oh, I see myself on the BET well into my 70s. I mean, I watch meetings. I've been watching meetings, and people come and they talk about what parks mean to them. People come and they talk about what road maintenance does for them in their daily lives. And I love those conversations. We don't have enough of those conversations. So being on a place where I have entrusted a little bit of authority from the public to think about those issues, communicate about them, that sounds like a party to me. Can't believe they're going to pay me as much as $35 a meeting.
I'm going to read quotes from your website.
Oh no. Okay, I do need to put some more stuff on the website.
Well, that's not what this is about. This is what's on the website right now.
Okay, all right.
To meet this difficult moment, we need leaders who believe in the importance of forward-thinking investment more than they want to win votes by promising tax cuts that never materialize anyway.
Yep.
We need a BET that will find new paths for innovation and not accepting a declining status quo.
Sounds like a smart and, if I may add, thoughtful young man.
What is your best idea for innovation in the field of taxation?
Well, maybe a good opportunity to talk about land value taxation.
Okay.
I talk about other ideas for raising revenue, but land value taxation is one idea that I think could really benefit a lot of people or benefit the city overall. So basically the idea there is right now your property taxes are assessed based on the value of your property and its structures. So if you have a big mansion, that's worth a lot of money on the market, and so they assess your property, and you get taxed in rough proportion to your, in accordance with the value of your home and the land that you own. But what that does is actually incentivize underdevelopment, because somebody who puts one family home on, let's say a half acre of land is paying potentially or likely paying less property tax than someone who puts like a small apartment building on the same quantity of land. And so if you move to land value taxation, your taxes are the same regardless, given the same size property, same value property, regardless of what you do or don't put on it. So you pay comparatively less taxes if you develop more housing, for example. And actually what this does is, like in studies from when they did it in Pennsylvania, the change in your your property tax payments before and after, for single family homes it actually went down a little bit. Apartments, I believe it went down a good bit. And then the place where it really goes up is people who are just holding on to vacant land, or especially parking lots. And so I think land value taxation as a model of redistributing the property tax burden would be super beneficial for the city, not just for people who want more housing and more affordable housing, but also for current property taxpayers, because the thing that really increases your property taxes is when there's no growth. And so incentivizing the development of more housing will help stabilize our property tax payments over time. So how's that for an innovative idea?
It's great. I could barely hear it over some of the traffic back there, but I think it was probably really
your
good.
Listeners are well asleep. Were you going to read another quote?
I had one more, and then we were just about done. Thank you for continually fixing the camera.
Yeah, I got to say, I feel like all, listeners at home, as you're judging my answers, I'm doing this while riding a bike through traffic on this cockamamie route that John cooked up. And
I did not pick this route. Yeah, if you're not watching, you won't know. Eric is fixing the camera during all of his answers and navigating through traffic and getting scolded in the replies for not wearing a helmet.
He does it, folks. He does it all. Wait, what do you mean the replies? We're not live, are we?
We are not. There will be replies. I'm predicting the reply. I think it's getting
But you
scolded.
don't wear a helmet.
It's true. I've been getting scolded a ton for doing these interviews without a helmet, and we're just not going to address it. I feel like, so there's a good video by Bike Snob NYC.
Oh, yeah.
About all the reasons people are overestimating the help of a helmet.
Yeah.
And I just think it makes biking look like an adventure sport when the vast majority of the time...
Well, that's their attitude in Europe, is it's off-putting to people who are trying to get into it. So I feel like at this point we should go.
Go watch Bike Snob NYC. Search for the why I don't wear a helmet video.
They were anonymous for a really long time.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. And then they got, unveiled at some point by someone. My brother knows gossip about stuff like that. My brother's a big bike guy who was almost killed in a hit and run in Colorado. A utility van plowed into him when he was riding home from a velodrome race, and he was super lucky to survive. Actually, not just lucky, he saved himself by somehow in delirium losing pints of blood and having most bones in his body broken, literally, flagged down a car somehow, barely, and this guy saved his life. Just thought he saw something in the grass and actually took the time to circle back and stop and save my brother. Had he lied there 20 more minutes, he would have been dead. So biking safety and the conduct of drivers around bikes and the way we build our infrastructure, extremely important to me and to my family. But it hasn't yet persuaded me to wear a helmet 100% of the time.
So as drivers awkwardly wait for us to cross, I'm just going to read this quote from Eric's website. I have found the sense of community in Minneapolis is unparalleled, and that is why I have made my life here.
100%.
I have also found that in the 12 plus years I've lived here, and I wonder if you have any ideas about why that is. What is it about Minneapolis?
Unpretentious is a huge one. Working class values, valuing people's humanity. Not always in a friendly way, but I think maybe in a deeper way. And I think that so when you get closer to people, you find that they really care for one another, And I think another thing, frankly, because I almost made the whole podcast without saying this, but I guess I'll admit it now. I grew up in New York City, and I've lived in Colorado, I've lived in Washington, D.C., I lived in New York again as an adult, and then I lived in the Bay Area before I came here. And those are some hot areas for people to move and all that. And I think the fact that, obviously a lot of people move to Minnesota and to Minneapolis in particular. but not quite to the same extent and not necessarily with the same intentions. You know, people who are from here love it because it's where the people they grew up with and their families and their history is, you know, and then people who move here, I think they're not coming because they have some idea of what it is necessarily. They're looking for a good place where they can make a life where they'll have space to start a family and raise kids and have a good job and, you know, care for, you know, friends and family and just, you know, live a good, dignified life. And I think that is way more amenable to the creation of like strong community structures than a place where people are coming because the surfing's good or people are going because the mountains are gorgeous. You know, those things are great, but are they the most important thing in life? You know, and do they build a foundation of a truly connected, caring community? I think the sense of place here is tremendous because people are devoted to it because it's where they've chosen to live, not because of what it offers them from like a recreation standpoint necessarily.
Right.
That's my take on it. What do you think?
Yeah, if you live here because you love the place, not because the winters are great.
The winters are my favorite season though, by far. I love the winter. Do your listeners know that I am the reason we had 3 Wedge Live skate days?
They don't know that. Yeah, Eric is the inspiration for the very sparsely attended Wedge Live emergency skating events last winter.
Okay, if those are sparsely attended, then the emergency ride's also sparsely attended. I mean, we get like 8 to 10.
Yeah, all the way. You know what the best Wedge Live event, and I'll take credit for it, this was all my idea, is the Float Fest.
I'm
It
going.
is so good.
I was supposed to go home for Labor Day to see my father, but now that I'm running for BET, I've got to be here and figure out how to.
Wait, are
connect
you
with my
really
voters.
changing up your life because you're running for BET?
Yeah, I mean, it's okay. Can I be earnest for a second? It's a very important role.
It is, but
I mean, like, think about the.
Visit your dad. Visit your dad.
No, he's better off without me. I'll go visit him after the election when I'm in a much more relaxed state of mind.
What are you going to be doing over Labor Day weekend?
Oh my God, there's
BET?
there's a door knock every day. I gotta hit the Steve Brandt and be out there among the people at farmers markets. There's a political picnic one day. I'm gonna go to Float Fest. I'm also gonna catch up on a bunch of housework. I don't know if like my front yard was featured in the beginning of this episode, but a lot of weeding to do. And just, yeah, I mean, I should do some meal prep. I mean, it's 35,000 votes at least. Like, I gotta work my ass off. And another thing I'll say about why I have to work hard, even if it's likely I'd win, which I don't agree with, is that doing the campaign right is how I'm gonna do the job right. If I'm not spending a lot of effort making sure that voters know who I am, know about the office, know why they should care about the office, and also doing like the political work of like talking to current elected officials about the role and why I'm interested in it and what I think we can do with it, talking to folks, you know, there's Minneapolis, I'm not from here. People have devoted their lives to working in government, whether it's as city employees or running for office or just being really active volunteers in different Senate districts and things like that. And I owe it to those people, I think, to really make a good effort and get out there and meet them and hear what they have to say and ensure that I have ideas about how to reflect their values. There's a lot I don't know. I've had a really fortunate career in this kind of like in policy sort of work because I do the reading and because I work hard and listen to people, and so I've got to do that here, or else this would be, you know, it's a public office. Just because it doesn't pay shit, I gotta serve the people.
Do you have any recommendations? I'm bringing this
Yes!
question back
Yes!
because Eric was like, I came with a recommendation. I was like, Eric, when was the last time you listened to the podcast? I haven't asked that question in months.
But that's not true because, yeah, I guess, okay, I have been listening to your podcast, but I guess I've been listening more to the episodes with recurring guests like our friend Josh Martin and Taylor, and so maybe I'm listening to less of the interviews. Yeah, but that's a good point because if I had listened to the episodes that I sponsored, we haven't even talked about this.
Have you found your truck?
No!
Okay, listeners, you may have heard the episode sponsored by Eric's 2006 stolen Chevy Suburban. This is Eric. This is Eric
This is
from
me.
the stolen Suburban ads.
Find my truck!
You still haven't found it.
No, it's really disappointing. I really, honestly, like, it was a really, you know, it's like, I ended up with it. It was a friend's my friend's father's truck, and I bought it off of them, like third hand. But it was really useful. It was 8 feet long, so 8 feet. Plywood comes in 8-foot sheets. Rebar often comes in 8-foot or 9-foot lengths that I could fit back there. Friends moving couches. I'm trying to sell a couch right now. When I had Rita, my Chevy Suburban, I'd throw it right in the back, deliver to whoever wants to take this couch. So yeah, it is like really kind of devastating. And there is like a longer conversation to be had with, mayoral candidates about what is our plan to have the police close more cases and, like solve things. I think that would really help with perceptions of public safety and with, sort of the general approval ratings of MPD. But did you see Jazz Hampton had his car stolen too?
Yeah, Jazz is like the Forrest Gump of Minneapolis mayoral candidates.
I agree. I think he wants to be a superhero.
Everything happens to him.
Yeah. Jazz is very interesting. He did one of these videos talking about the property tax increase. I didn't quite get where he was going with it because he's like, that's a lot. As mayor, like I would make sure it's less. But I think that's kind of a cheap talking point. Not saying Jazz is using it as one, but I'm just saying like, what's the plan there? Like a lot of mayors run on a vague, like, I'm going to control your property tax promise, but unless you really have a plan, a lot of people have tried to just come up with the savings, right? I mean, we just had Doge, right? They were going to go into the federal government, massive federal government. They were going to find all this waste, and they couldn't. They were like, actually, a lot of this stuff's pretty tight ship, and then the stuff that, obviously, well, we don't need to get into that. But so, the idea that property taxes could easily be, like, kept low should be disproven. We should be skeptical about that assertion given the number of mayors and the wide range of their political alignments, that ended up also raising property taxes. One of the great joys of running is that I've knocked a lot of doors as a volunteer, and every now and then often you have great conversations, but maybe 10% are going to be good conversations, and then a lot of, people who just don't want to talk. When you're a candidate, people will talk to you. I go and I've been to the band shell a couple times. I've been down to other music in the park events. I went to the farmers market, and people are like very willing to engage when they hear that I'm the one running, which is really cool, and it's really nice to talk with folks about what their concerns are, what their hopes are, what their perceptions are. Oh, but I'm cheating myself of the recommendations question.
Let's do it.
Okay, so this book I read maybe a year and a half ago, Ministry for the Future, Kim Stanley Robinson. Excellent sci-fi novel about future of our planet with climate change, things like that. I'm reading another good sci-fi novel right now called The Dispossessed by the legendary Ursula K. Le Guin. I would also say that if you haven't had a peanut butter and jelly sandwich in a while, they got it right. They got it right, right from the beginning. And shout out to a couple great spots in my neighborhood. Canteen, great coffee shop to do work, quiet coffee shop so you can really focus. And also, of course, Victor's number 1 or number 2 best breakfast in the city, in my opinion.
Okay, we covered them all?
Yeah, well, okay, and then I said I was also gonna throw a huge note of appreciation to this guy, John.
Yeah.
John, obviously, if you're listeners, he does incredible work. He's a wonderful guy. He's super friendly. There are a lot of people who come to his events, who listen, who he's in contact with, that he really, brings in and includes, and that's really wonderful, and the city's better because of you. And I'm really proud to be on the Wedge Live podcast. This is a huge deal for me.
Thank you. That's very meaningful and sincere. And I appreciate it. Yeah, patreon.com/wedgelive.
Oh yeah, I didn't even do my thing, right?
Yeah, you're my tip guy at the cat tour.
I am the tip guy at the cat tour. I did not do a good job there, but maybe now they'll listen to this pitch. If you can, a couple bucks a month, that really adds up. It's John's got rent to pay. He's got Aldi groceries to buy. He's got inner tubes to float on.
Yes.
He's got camera equipment, and he does this work, and he gives it away for free. So you should do your part and help support it.
Thank you. Eric Harris Bernstein, not intended as a campaign finance violation. what has happened here today. vote for Eric Harris Bernstein for BET.
Or at least keep your eyes out for my blue stolen Chevy Suburban,
And that too.
license plate ERU 509, sticker on the back. You can look on my Twitter, I've got pictures. All my social media, EHB for BET, which apparently is a terrible tagline, but Twitter, Blue Sky, Instagram, EHB for BET.
Okay. This has been the Wedge Live Podcast. I'm your host, John Edwards. Eric Harris Bernstein, candidate for Board of Estimate and Taxation. Thank you for listening.
This is a real thing. Real thing.
None of you have the balls to stop this. Stop this.
I've got plenty of time. I have nothing else going on today.
We're in the Wedge neighborhood right now.